What's up, guys? S2H back in action once again with the NHL season fast approaching, and me being a Montreal Canadiens fan and a guy who lives in Canada, I have to talk about this North Division, and I have to give my team rankings, where I think each team will finish at the end of the season, ranking them from number 7 to number 1. Now, this division is going to be super competitive. I could see a team that misses the playoffs missing by 1 point. The top 4 teams are going to be just as competitive as the bottom 3 teams. Besides the number 7 team, I don't think there's going to be a lot of disparity in points. Out of all the divisions, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan and I'm a Canadian, this looks like the most competitive division. There are some really good teams in this division and some really good players in this division. We have the Winnipeg Jets, the Vancouver Canucks, my team, the Montreal Canadiens, the Edmonton Oilers, the Ottawa Senators, the Calgary Flames, and of course, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Every single one of those teams outside of Ottawa could make the playoffs this year, could be a very competitive team this year. So that's why I'm going to rank Ottawa Senators the number 7 team in the North Division. At least in my opinion, they are the number 7 team in the North Division. The Senators have done a great job so far rebuilding their young core and putting themselves together a great offseason, drafting studs like Tim Stützle and Jake Sanderson, along with adding bona fide top 6 scoring in Evgeny Dadonov. They already have other good pieces like Brady Tkachuk and Thomas Chabot on the blue line. But overall, I feel the combination of their youth, inexperience, and poor defensive play will cause them to miss the playoffs this year, but it still wouldn't be a shock if they did make the playoffs because this division is going to be so competitive. But if there was a team I was going to pick that would definitely be on the outside that I think if all these teams could miss it by a good few points, it would be the Ottawa Senators. But the way this team is looking, and if I was an Ottawa Senators fan, I'd be very, very happy about the future. Tim Stützle looks like a stud. Thomas Chabot looks like he's going to be an elite number 1 D-man in the NHL. He's already pretty much there. Brady Tkachuk is an excellent player. Jake Sanderson was great at the World Juniors, won a gold medal. Their prospect pool is amazing. Their young core is amazing. If they get better goaltending and better defensive structure, the Ottawa Senators could be a force for years to come. But as far as it goes right now, I had to pick them as the number 7 team in this 7-team division, the North Division. So the Ottawa Senators, I'm definitely going to have to pick to miss the playoffs in this 2020-2021 season. Coming in the 6th spot, ranking number 6 in the North Division, and this could look like a bonehead pick, just like my number 5 pick. That's how competitive this division is. The Calgary Flames. Although the Flames have been competitive and made the playoffs quite a bit over the past few years, I feel with the new format of the North Division and as competitive as it should be, I think the Flames will miss the playoffs this year. Their overall scoring depth isn't as deep as some teams in this division, in my personal opinion, and the loss of TJ Brodie on the blue line, even with the addition of Tanev, I feel really hurts Calgary's blue line, and Markstrom coming into the team as a new starting goalie could be a hit and miss for this team this year. I like Markstrom a lot, but is he really better than guys like Carey Price, Freddie Anderson, Connor Hellebuck, and Thatcher Demko? Only time will tell, but I truly don't believe that he is better than all those guys. Maybe he's better than Demko, but is Vancouver a better team than Calgary? I like Markstrom. I do like Calgary overall. They're not a team that I have any bias against whatsoever, but looking at their defensive structure, looking at their scoring past their top 6, because their top 6 scoring is pretty good, I don't think their depth is the best, and I don't think they're built for the playoffs. That's just my personal opinion. So therefore, out of this very competitive division, I'm going to have to pick the Calgary Flames to miss the playoffs and come in at number 6. But like I said, I could look bad at the end of the season making this pick. They could be a lot better. Coming in the 5th spot in what was by far the hardest pick for me to make, this team could be excellent. They have the best player in the league in Connor McDavid. They have last year's best player in the league, the MVP of the league, Leon Draisaitl. They have good young players, but I have to have the Edmonton Oilers coming in at number 5, and I will explain why. The Oilers are a team that I'm contemplating putting in the top 4 for sure, but as good as McDavid and Draisaitl and their young players like Darnell Nurse and Yamamoto are, I feel their very weak goaltending duo will really hold them back, especially with Koskinen as the starter, and their lack of scoring depth on their bottom 2 lines, along with their overall weak defense and weak defensive play in their own zone, will inevitably cost the Edmonton Oilers a playoff spot. I like Connor McDavid a ton. There's no denying he's the best player in the league. They do have some good young pieces like Darnell Nurse, Kyler Yamamoto, but their goaltending looks so weak compared to these other teams, compared to the teams that I'm going to be picking in the top 4. Every single one of them, in my opinion, have better defense and have better goaltending, and stars in your top 6 can only carry you so far. And as much as I like Connor McDavid, I don't think he's Wayne Gretzky, and I don't think he's ready to put a team on his back and carry them all the way to the Stanley Cup. Coming in the number 4 spot, and the team that I think will finish in 4th in the North Division, and yes, I am a Montreal Canadiens fan, but this isn't even being biased. This is just looking at the team from their goaltending to their defense to their scoring depth. I really think that the Montreal Canadiens are a playoff team. I don't think they're set to dominate this division, even finish top 2, but I do think they are for sure a playoff team in this division. Looking at it from a non-biased perspective, I still think Montreal is the most improved team in this division this offseason, and are set to have a very good regular season, with their young center core being led by Nick Suzuki, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, along with new additions that bring size, scoring, experience, skill, and much more physicality to the lineup, along with a top backup goalie in Jake Allen to take the workload off Carey Price. I really feel Montreal will be a force in the division this year. And with Josh Anderson, Joel Edmondson, and Corey Perry now on the team, they will be a team that opposing teams hate to play against. And that's one thing I had to say about the Montreal Canadiens right now. Even if they aren't the best, most skilled team with the sickest top 6 forwards, 80, 90-point players, they have really good overall scoring depth. Their defense is huge. They have all huge players on their lineup, along with the addition of Alexander Romanov, and just the physicality and the size. They are not a team that will be pushed around this year, and they are going to make the playoffs, in my opinion. Coming in the number 3 spot, and the team that I think will finish 3rd in the North Division, is the Toronto Maple Leafs. And please don't hate me for this, Habs fans. I'm just looking at it as a non-biased opinion. And as far as the playoffs go, I really think Montreal is a better built team for the playoffs. But in the regular season, there's no denying the Toronto Maple Leafs should be in the top 3 of this division. As much as it pains me to say it as a Habs fan, like myself, I think Toronto will finish the regular season with a slightly better record than Montreal. The fact is, the combination of their insane top 6 scoring with 3 players who can put up 100 points, along with William Nylander himself who can put up 70 to 80 points. Their very good center depth and their elite starting goaltender in Freddie. Even though he doesn't have the best backup, Freddie can definitely carry the workload in Toronto, especially over a shortened season. I believe it's a no-brainer that the Toronto Maple Leafs will make the playoffs and finish top 3 in this division. But overall, their defense is weak, and I think that could really hurt them in the playoffs. And I don't think Toronto is a team that is built for a long playoff run. But as far as regular season success goes, and maybe even being able to win a playoff round this year, I definitely think the Toronto Maple Leafs can accomplish that. And I definitely have to put them in the top 3 of this division. I love the Montreal Canadiens. I think they're a super improved team. But putting them over Toronto Maple Leafs this season in the North Division, as it stands right now, would just be biased in my opinion. Coming in at number 2, and the team that I think ranks 2nd in the North Division this year and will finish 2nd in the North Division, and in my opinion is the most playoff-ready team in the North Division, the Winnipeg Jets. Much like the Toronto Maple Leafs, Winnipeg has elite scorers up front, like Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, and Patrick Laine. They also have the current best goalie in the league in Connor Hellebuck. But one thing I think gives Winnipeg the edge over Toronto is their toughness, physical play, and defensive structure. Winnipeg might not have the huge names on their blue line, but they play very well together, they mesh very well together, and defensively they are very hard to play against. Therefore, I think they will have a great season and be one of the strongest teams in this division and be very hard team to play against all season. And in my opinion, like I said earlier, out of this North Division, Winnipeg is the most playoff-ready team. They have a very good goaltender. They have very good defensive structure. They have very good top 6 scoring, along with very good scoring depth. I really like Kyle Connor. I think he's super underrated. I think Mark Scheifele is another super underrated player. I really like Blake Wheeler. They have Neil Pionk, and there's no denying that Connor Hellebuck is a beast. Therefore, I am definitely going to have to pick the Winnipeg Jets to finish top 2 in this division, and behind the number 1 team, I think they're the best. Coming in at number 1, and the team I think for sure will finish first in the North Division this year, the Vancouver Canucks. This may come as a surprise to some, but for me it's an absolute no-brainer. With crazy scoring from both ends, their blue line and their forward core, with young stars and established vets that are great players themselves, like Elias Pettersson, Bo Horvat, JT Miller, Quinn Hughes. How can you not love that mix right there? Along with a young red-hot goalie who, in my opinion, will flourish this season in Thatcher Demko. And even if he doesn't, he has a proven stud to back him up in Braden Holtby. Vancouver will be a force to be reckoned with this season. They have a really good coach in Travis Green, a former NHL player himself. They have really good scoring, really good goaltending. I love their special teams and their overall defensive game. For as young as some of their defenders are, I really like their overall defensive game. This is why I truly believe the Vancouver Canucks are going to dominate the division this year and be absolutely awesome. Now, whether or not with their youth and inexperience, They're built for the playoffs. Only time will tell, but we've seen last year in the playoffs what they can do when they get on a hot streak and when they get a hot goalie, and just their overall coaching staff, the way Travis Green coaches that team. I really, really like that team. I feel bad for Canucks fans with that Louis Eriksson contract, but even with that terrible contract, I think the Canucks are going to be awesome this season, and for me, they're definitely going to win this division. Whether or not you agree with my picks, feel free to let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. I hope you guys are excited about the NHL season as I am. We're only a couple days away. I'm super pumped to see my Habs play. I hope you're super pumped to see your team play, whichever team it is. Have a great day. Stay safe wherever you're to, folks. S2H, over and out.